Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be getting a chance to review a movie that I did not think I was going to see at Sundance this year because the tickets were originally sold out, but for some reason an hour before the screening it opened up and I was able to see Judas and the Black Messiah, the new film from Shaka, and this movie blew me away. This movie met my expectations. That was very, very high. I love the trailers for this film. I was excited for the story. I was excited for the performances in this film, and it really did meet all my expectations. This movie is about Chairman Fred Hampton, the leader of the Black Panther Party in the year 1969, before his later assassination, and the involvement of FBI informant William O'Neill and his involvement in that assassination. And this is a story, like I said, that I've never really heard about. I never really learned about the Black Panther Party in school, which is just a crime, an absolute crime that they didn't teach some of this stuff in school. Because when you think of the Black Panther Party, at least in my school and the way that it was taught always taught in a, not in a negative light, but it was never really told in a super positive one either. And in that way, I think this movie is actually extremely important for people to watch because it is a very important story. It's a story that I'd never heard of, and it's honestly kind of insane what happened in this entire situation. And it really does follow these two characters and their ideals and the guilt and the entire thought process of betraying and being a rat in this organization and what the FBI actually did to discredit this place. From purely a story perspective, I was completely invested throughout the entire runtime of this movie because it's a very interesting story, but it was only elevated by the incredible performances from both Daniel Kaluuya and especially LaKeith Stanfield, who I think gives his best performance to date. He is fantastic in this film because he's dealing with a character, like I said, that's very guilt-ridden. He's a rat in this organization that he even starts to kind of believe the ideals that they're going for. And even though he's a very self-centered character and he's only doing things for himself, he does learn stuff from this group, and it does hurt him, and the deep guilt that he feels throughout this entire movie for doing the things that he's doing because of the terrible things that it leads to. But the fear that the FBI is striking into him of what could possibly happen if he were to be captured or found out as being a rat in this organization was just a lot of layers to this character. And I found him to be extremely, extremely interesting to watch throughout the entire film. There is a heavy theme of self-preservation versus doing things for the people. And that is what Chairman Fred Hampton really stood for. And Daniel Kaluuya's performance as this character was very riveting because, I mean, you've seen it in the trailers, the I am a revolutionary entire sequence. That chant is so incredibly powerful, and that scene was probably my favorite in the movie because it's so striking in the trailer, but when it is in the film and when it is so just powerful in that room, you can feel the energy and you can feel the power that they all have, and taking all that back is incredible. And this film really does capture the ideals and that message that the Black Panthers had and all the good things that they did, because they had schools, they fed people, they built ambulances, they did all these things to help the communities that the government just did not help, even though they were supposed to. They say that they're doing things for the people, but the Black Panther Party was really the only ones that helped these communities that the actual government did not. And so this entire story of the Black Panthers is one that, like I said, I never really learned about, which is just a complete shame. And that's why I think this movie is extremely important, because it captures all these things. And no, was the Black Panther Party perfect? Nothing in the world is perfect, and they probably have so many stories that you can say was terrible or whatever, but the good that they did, the good that they inspired, and the fact that they're still around doing great things is something to admire and something to really take in and you know, put some thought into. And I believe this is possibly only the second film that Shaka has ever directed, which, if that's the case, that's kind of amazing. But if he's done a couple other things, this is still only the first movie that I've seen him direct, and it gets me very excited for everything else that he directs in the future, because for one, from a performance standpoint, obviously he was able to get the two performances that I've already talked about, but especially from Dominique Fishback, who plays Daniel Kaluuya's wife in this film. She is phenomenal, and she had one of the most interesting characters because she had those ideals. She wanted to, you know, help her husband do these great things for the people, but she also couldn't help but look back at herself and not wanting him to die for the revolution and not wanting these things to happen, even though she knows how important it is for him, and the poetry that she writes. And I believe she actually wrote the poems in this movie because, you know, she was talking to him early on about how he really is a poet. He may not, you know, love poetry or speak poetry or read poetry himself, but he really is a poet. And she, having her own poetry, writing it, and expressing her words through the poem that she writes throughout the movie is really, really great. She was fantastic in this film as well. And so I highly recommend all you guys to check out this movie. I believe it's releasing in theaters and on HBO Max the same day on February 12th, so definitely seek this one out. You won't be disappointed. And like I said, it's a very important watch as well. So thanks guys for watching this review. I'm glad I got to see this film early, and subscribe to the channel to see more reviews just like this one for all my Sundance movies. I have a couple more that I need to record right now because I've seen a lot of these movies and I want to talk about all of them. So thanks guys for watching. Comment down below what you thought of Judas and the Black Messiah, and I hope to see you all in my next one.